Well, hello, everybody. This is very exciting. So glad to be here. My name is Beth. I am your GM tonight. Go easy on me, players, because it's my first time on stream DMing. I might have perhaps picked the wrong group if I need to, have people go easy on me. But we do have a great group today. I'm very glad to have, brought this group of players together because I've played with each of them in one way or another over time, and they're all a lot of fun. So let's meet them, shall we? Let's start with our, one of our very awesome characters for this game. Will be played by Rachel.
Hello, Beth. I'm
Hi.
Rachel, also known as Arya Galaxy. I'm super excited to play in Humblewood. I'm a big fan of TTRPGs. I've been streaming since about October, and you can see me in a few other Monday Night Mayhems with Beth and Bleak Season and Javante, and super excited to play for the first time with Deb. And I'm a longtime D&D fan, longtime Beth fan. So I'm super excited to see how this game's going to go, and let's get to it.
All right. Glad to have you. So glad. Okay. I do wonder, though, if I'm DMing and you're playing, how are we going to ship different players?
We'll find a way.
Yeah,
we'll
make
find
it
a
happen
way.
one way or another. Okay, well, now we've got another friend here who I think I think you're really going to enjoy what he brings to the table. Javante, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Hi, everyone. They can't seem to get rid of me over here at Guild Superior. I'm Javante, your resident TTRPG goblin. I'm in a bunch of the Monday Night Mayhems here. I'm going to be in a lot more stuff here coming forward. I'm super excited to play this. This has such a good... I'm a big Redwall fan, and this has huge Redwall vibes. And really excited. Also, I love playing with Beth. So it's going to be super fun to see how your DMing style is, and love participating in your games with Rachel, who's super awesome. Love being in games with Bleak, and really excited to see how Deb does. So I'm hype.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm hyped too. This is going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of new to streaming, my friend Deb, who I wrangled into this adventure, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It is good to be here. This is my first streamed game. And Beth, it's also your fault that I got into TTRPGs in the first place. So Beth is the one that has wrangled me into this world. And I'm super excited. I love woodland creatures. So I can't wait to see what shenanigans we get into.
Awesome. Yes. And there will be shenanigans, knowing all of you. Speaking of shenanigans, Bleak Season, how you doing?
I'm muted. That's how I'm doing. Hey, Beth, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Very nice. Yeah. I like it. I like it.
Awesome.
Oh, you want me to speak about myself now?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
All right, cool. Hey, I'm League Season. I hang out here, I do some stuff, run some games, play some games once in a while. Bring the Canadianness to the entire, Canadian vibe to the entire thing. I will be running Shadesong new season starting on Thursday right here. And on Sunday, we begin a new Vase in a 5-part campaign, which Javante will take part in. All these things, extra fun. I also play in the Tuesday Greyhawk game, which is not on tomorrow, as far as I understand, but we'll wait and see what happens with that. Yeah, so, like the flu virus, I get around, I guess.
Yeah, exactly like a virus. Here you are, right. And here That's you me. Shall stay.
That's right.
Well, with that very lovely introduction of yourself, Bleak, how are we all feeling? Are you ready to jump into the game?
Let's go.
Yeah, feeling good? All right, perfect. Well, let us introduce ourselves to Humblewood, a very fantastic setting. And I'll start you off with just a little bit of history on the location here. So, in the faraway world of Everden, on the eastern coast of a great continent, lies a vast forest that's nestled between the mountains and the sea. It's called the Humblewood, an ancient and magical place that hums an endless song sung to the great rhythm of life and death. The wood, as it's known to its inhabitants, is not like any other forest. The trees are old and powerful, with rare specimen that reach as tall as small mountains. Here, familiar beasts grow to unusual sizes, bearing markings and patterns that are unique to the wood. This region is also home to two groups of animal-like humanoid races, the birdfolk and the humblefolk. Together, they share the wood and its boundless resources. In the early years, the birdfolk and the humblefolk lived close to each other in small villages around the forest. These isolated communities were vulnerable to an organization of brigands and marauders who called themselves the Bandit Coalition. To protect themselves from the coalition, the birdfolk built fortified cities in the forest's canopy. Joining forces with the humblefolk, the birdfolk army known as the Perch Guard drove back the bandits, bringing peace and security to the region. Over time, the birdfolk culture spread, and the capital city of Alderheart became the most politically influential place in the wood. But the wood has also known sorrow. Not long after the founding of Alderheart, a massive forest fire known as the Great Calamity burned a portion of the wood. The origins of the fire are unknown, but the area has been left permanently damaged. And to this day, they call it the Scorched Grove. It's an arid field of ash that has since become home to many strange flame-infused creatures. The Tenders, an organization of druids and mystics, dedicate themselves to healing the Scorched Grove with natural magics. Set up in conclaves around the wood, they provide aid whenever forest fires strike. Yet, since the grove's burning, the wood has only known relatively few fires. Nature's balance, though, can be disrupted by a single spark. Recently, fires have begun to rage through the wood with a strength and fury not seen since ages past. Forest dwellers are again being displaced from their homes and seeking refuge in Alderheart, and perch dwellers are doing what they can to keep themselves safe up in their canopy sanctuaries. Relations between the humblefolk and the birdfolk are a little bit tense right now. Moreover, a newly invigorated bandit coalition swells in numbers. Its sights are set upon Alderheart, where those displaced by the flames seek a means of survival. And this is where we currently find ourselves, in the bustling city of Alderheart. This great tree city is a vibrant place and a cultural center home to thousands of residents. Alderheart is home to every race of birdfolk and humblefolk. It's a thriving community that attracts people from faraway lands like traveling merchants, explorers, and foreign dignitaries. Citizens of the Humblewood who don't live in the city routinely journey there to trade goods, stock up on supplies, engage in artistic endeavors, or simply to catch up on the latest news and gossip. Effectively, everyone in Humblewood is connected to Alderheart. And that includes our four adventurers who all find themselves waking up at the Wrangler's Rest, just having returned from another arduous supply run the night before. Hippa, how are you feeling this morning?
Hippa is feeling amazing because Hippa got up about 2 hours earlier than everyone else to make breakfast. Even though she knows this place probably serves breakfast, she went down and made friends with the kitchen staff and cooked a personal breakfast for the group and is just about to knock back on our door and wake everybody up for the day. Hippa is a little hedge, which is a race in Humblewood kind of similar to a hedgehog and a porcupine, and she is a little way of the open hand monk. So she did a little meditation this morning and is ready to start her day on the sunny side.
Ugh, that is perfect. How about our birdfolk friend Fuelgear? How are you this morning?
Pilga, as always, after a little adventure like this, has been needing to take a little bit of time to resource himself and just sort of get his mind. It's always very exciting to do these little missions that we do, and it's always fraught with danger and all that. And he works very hard to keep it all together. He sees himself certainly as a cleric. He sees himself as sort of responsible for the well-being of the entire group, and so tends to be quite stressed What are you pointing at?
I was pointing at myself.
Oh, okay, yeah. Tends to be quite stressed through these little adventures, so always needs a little bit of downtime after. But now this morning would have been ready and up and about early enough, having cleaned his nice armor and put everything back on, and being his usual, stentorial sort of standing up, very sort of serious owl strig that he is, would certainly have been downstairs pretty early, actually, sitting at the table, knowing that, as always, Hippo would provide for us. So be enjoying perhaps a cup of tea while waiting for the rest to come down and join us.
Excellent.
Yes.
Fantastic. How is Honey doing this morning?
Honey feels pretty well rested, but she is staying in her room a little longer than she probably should have. She dreads the time of day when she has to go out and be around other people. She tends to kind of stick to herself a little bit. She's really nervous being in groups. She really doesn't want to disappoint other people, and so she's much more comfortable kind of being in her own space. So she's kind of ready to go, but she has a little bit of look of anxiety on her face as she heads down the stairs.
Sweet baby. And then our final friend here, we have Scourge. How is Scourge doing today?
So Scourge is probably the second to last to get out of the room. He doesn't really display a lot in terms of emotional state as he's moving around. The vibe that he gives off is that getting up as early as he gets up is a bit of a chore. And as he descends down to the kitchen, he's already doing the thing where he hunches down to lower his height. Scourge is though hunched to make himself seem smaller, a very tall, very thin coyote with deep black fur that is heavily scarred and singed on the right side. That gives a bit of a strange look to the one blind eye he has. And no matter what unemotional state he's in, he always seems to have this almost rictus smile that pulls at his lips. And he stops just about at the foot of the stairwell and breakfast this early, Hippa. Impressive.
Yeah. You see Hippa's doing like a yoga pose with your plate, like balanced on one hand, but like she's like stretched out in front. Like, yes, I made your favorite.
Just one claw out, takes it. You shouldn't have. You spoil me so.
I just want my little ones to always be taken care of and wake up on the right side of the bed. Have you seen Honey yet this morning?
You know, Honey. She takes a bit of time to get ready to come down. It'll just be a moment, I'm sure.
I have waited on the stairs a little bit and creep down the stairs and give Scourge a very wide berth and sit as far away from him at the table as I can.
The table that you're all sitting at is kind of a battered round table found in this Wrangler's Rest Inn. So it's a fairly cozy place. It kind of looks a little bit like a hunting lodge. There are old swords and crossbows and things like that adorning the walls. There's also a large fireplace, and above the mantle they have an enormous painting of it kind of depicts like a group of adventurers that are fighting some monstrosity. So it's very warm. It's cozier than you've been for a little bit, given that you've been out on the road. So you can settle here and enjoy some breakfast together.
As he probably often does when in this particular room, Filgir would be occasionally staring at this painting and seem a little bit uneasy with it, but certainly drawn to it, and will often turn his head almost all the way around, as owls are wont to do, to keep an eye on it.
Excellent. Over at the bar, we've got the tavern keeper who has been up just a bit after Hippa. His name is
barely though.
Just barely. Yeah, I mean, he's a gallus, so he looks kind of like a chicken, but he's got tufted feathers that sort of stick out on the sides. It kind of looks like facial hair. His name is Norris, and I would say, Hippa, you definitely are familiar with him, just given that you are very friendly and you just, talk to everybody. So you've made a friend of this grouchy old innkeeper, but he doesn't really, he doesn't particularly love that you have been sort of sneaking into his kitchen, but he'll allow it because you tend to make enough for everybody, including other patrons. So
I made him his own special loaf this morning that like a focaccia that I hand pressed. It was really just a quick focaccia though, it wasn't hours and hours
and easy.
of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Norris got his own focaccia, so hopefully that was enough to make him like me.
Absolutely. That'll definitely soften any interactions with him today. So last night you got back from another mission out in the wood. You've been going for a little while now with this group, back and forth to different villages throughout the wood that don't necessarily have access or means to get into Alderheart to get these goods for themselves. Some of them are towns that have been sort of blocked off by little fires that are started in the wood. But you've, kind of been working your way bit by bit through assignments from really anyone who will give them to you. You kind of just have read notice boards so far and have taken up jobs where you can. But as you're enjoying your breakfast, you kind of, sit and marvel at another fantastic breakfast prepared by your dear friend. Someone sort of hops over to the side of your table, and he stretches out a hand, does a big bow. He's got a note in his hand, and he says, excuse me. Hi, hello. My name is Skip. I am a messenger for the office of Mayor Dolores Sagittaria and the Birdfolk Council. I have been asked to find your group and provide you with this summons. And he bows even deeper and stretches his arm out to hand a note over. You can see that it's got a wax seal with the crest of Alderheart printed on it. And he reaches forward, not giving it to anyone in particular, just sort of leaning out towards all of you. I am a messenger. Oh, thank you. Okay. I am to accompany you to the council chambers. You have been summoned by Mayor Sagittaria. She would like to see you post haste.
Is that what the message says?
Yes, that is exactly what the message says, verbatim. And you don't even need to read it because I think I said everything that needed to be said. And in front of you is a very small gerbine, which are kind of like mouse folk. He looks like a jerboa, so he's got very big ears. He has a long tail that's got a little tuft of fur at the end of it, and feet that look far too large for his body. And he says, "My name is Skip, and I'm to take you to the council chambers post haste." He says again, and he just looks at you all as if you're not, fork to your mouth enjoying breakfast right now.
I'll hand the message over to Hippa, who I think is probably the one who makes the most sensible decisions in the group.
Yeah, I take the message, and this whole time I've just been like stretching, like doing like little like mom calisthenics, like in the corner as he's been talking. So I'll put away my like stretch band and come over and take it. And I say, oh, post haste. Well, I think we could be done with dinner or breakfast. What meal is this? Who cares? It's delicious. We could be done in a couple minutes. Would you like a piece of bread? And I offer a piece of bread to the little Gervain.
Oh, well, I am on duty, and I don't believe that I should be consuming.
She's putting the piece of bread in his mouth.
Oh, this is so good. Okay, don't tell
There
anyone.
you go. Yes.
Okay.
No, I won't.
And he'll sort of plop himself on a stool that is far too tall for him. He sort of has to climb up and sit there. His feet are dangling. They almost touch the ground just because of how long they are, but the rest of him seems very, very tiny up there. And he'll just sort of sit and wait and glance over at you very many times, waiting to see if you're ready, if it's time to go.
Have we had summons from the mayor before? Is this common, or is this like a special thing?
This is a special thing. You haven't been summoned by the mayor herself. You have seen notices on the various boards within Alderheart that are noted to be of the Birdfolk Council, but they seem sort of broad and just like general "we need help" kind of messages. So this seems a little bit different from what you're used to.
Gotcha. So then Hippo will probably turn to the group and say, well, gang, looks like we've got something special today. Does anyone have nicer clothing? I don't think I have anything nice. I just have my regular robes. But I guess we could just... And she, like, pushes some dirt off of, like, her sleeves and things like that. I was like, is that presentable enough? I suppose.
You seem fine, Hippa. I doubt that anyone in the royal courts would be too obliged to discredit what you wear. If they're fine with this, as he gestures to his own tattered leather cloak, ruined ragged hood, and a series of animal bones strung up on his like as a necklace. I think if they're fine with this, they'll be fine with you.
You have flowers in your clothes again. Just mend those like 2 days ago? What happened?
I prefer it like this.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just do them when they're sleeping, and then maybe you won't notice.
Honey, did you enjoy your breakfast?
It was delicious. It reminded me so much of home in the monastery. And I look at Skip and I'm like, are you sure you have the right group?
Well, I think so. I wasn't given a name, but I was given descriptions of, we have someone who's very worried, a Maypac, and then there was a hedge, and we have a Strig in fine clothing, and then a very, very, very scary coyote. I think that...
Oh, they
think there's any other group.
definitely got the mark on that one. You are an attentive one, aren't you? And Scourge is going to get very close.
He leans back, but not too far because he is very, very brave, and just looks you in the eye, but you see his nose twitches a little bit and his whiskers kind of quiver as he looks at you.
One quick sniff, leans back. My breakfast is done.
Upon hearing that you are maybe not going to eat him and you've been satisfied by Hippa's breakfast, he takes a moment. Well, if you're all ready, we should go. It's a bit of a climb.
Hilliger will finish this thing, wipe his corner of his beak very, very diligently with his napkin, fold it very neatly, put it in his neatly cleaned plate, push it a little bit away, stand up, square his shoulders. Very well, little one. Take us to the mayor.
Wait! Man, that was rough. Okay. Skip will see that you are, God, he'll see that that you're standing up straight. He looks at you with just such respect in his eyes, and he stands a little straighter, a little broader, even though he maybe reaches your knee. He'll say, well, thank you. Let's move on. And he'll sort of start hopping towards the door, and he looks back to see if anyone's moving to follow him.
All right. Sugar mamas at your service.
What? Who?
It looks to Hippa.
Yeah, sugar, because we're super sweet and we're spunky like mamas. So sugar mamas, here we come. Isn't that the name we agreed on?
Skip takes out a little notepad and a pencil, and he says, okay, sugar mamas.
Do not write that down as our name.
Hippa, I'm starting to lose count of the amount of times that we've discussed this particular subject. We are not called the Sugar Mamas.
Well, that's what I recall, but what did we decide on? I mean,
I thought we had
that
agreed.
name?
I thought we had
I don't get
agreed
it.
on the Firebreakers.
Firebreakers. That's a good one. I like
That
that.
doesn't-
I thought we were set on the seasons.
Okay.
No, we couldn't figure out which season you were talking about.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
too many seasons.
But there's 4 of us, so the seasons.
But is it seasons or is it seasonings? Because there could be salt, there could be pepper, there's garlic salt, there's
Skip writes paprika.
cumin, paprika. Yeah, there's too many seasonings to count. I mean, honey, I thought we agreed on sugar mamas because we're super sweet. Is there?
Well,
is it-
Hippa, I think that Sugar Mamas is a good name for you, but I don't know that it describes our group very well.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that name, right? Surely.
No, of course not.
Does it have some other meaning that I don't know?
Perhaps in some distant land, but certainly not here.
Okay, so you're not the sugar mamas. Seasons. Okay.
I mean, I've been workshopping a couple since we've had this discussion a lot of times. So, I've thought about something like the Clawed Squad, since we all have claws or talons.
That's very good.
But then I was thinking that we're trying to help put the fires out. So what if we were the Deluge?
How do you
That
say
sounds a little overwhelming.
Why
Why don't we
What-
table this?
Yes,
I feel
and
like,
we'll
yeah. Well,
perhaps a
just
further
write down-
adventure will help us cement our personality and our just what side of us that we wish to present to the world, and perhaps we just need a little bit more time to think on it.
An excellent observation as always, Fjolkir.
Thank you,
Table
Scourge.
the name.
Take your time, and if you think of anything else, I can add it to the list. But now I just have seasoned fire mamas, and I think that's good for now. Okay,
That's good with me. Yeah.
let's go. And he hops out the door.
Branding is such a difficult affair.
Well, I'm sorry, gang. I thought we had decided on it, but I guess that's my bad. But let's go.
As you exit the inn, you see that Skip has sort of bounced his way along. So within Alderheart, there are 3 main sections. So you've got the canopy up above, there is the trunk, and then there's the root system. And there are people everywhere. So each layer of the tree is inhabited by really any number of folk, both bird and humble. You're currently in the trunk. It kind of suited you best for the evening you were planning to have. Things down in the roots can tend to be a little bit seedy, and you weren't exactly sure if you wanted to. I think Scourge was very willing to stay there. He has some regular haunts that he likes to check out when he comes back to the city. But for the rest of you, it felt a little bit better to be staying in the trunk. But Skip sort of hops along and sort of shouts back to you, we have to go up to the canopy. And you sort of emerge into the true bustle of this city. So in front of you, there are markets, a market here that is one of many. It's not the largest in Alderheart, but it has plenty of wares varying from, clothing items. They have leather workers who have made bags and pouches and things for adventuring. There are food vendors and blacksmiths and really anything that you could need. Things in the trunk are a bit more reasonably priced than elsewhere. The things that you could find in the roots might be illegally obtained items, perhaps. If you're in the market for anything like that, that would certainly be the place to go. And up in the canopy, they have items of very high quality, but also very high price. And so this, generally speaking, is the best place for all of you. As you follow Skip along, he takes you to one of the many elevators that are found within this great tree city. They are just sort of counterweight elevators. You're not quite sure how much magic was involved in putting them together. You do know that the tenders of the ancient age worked very closely with the tree itself to manipulate it and form it into the city that it's become today. So these spaces and platforms and everything that it's made of have been very willingly and lovingly crafted. But he'll take you to one of these elevators, have you hop on, and make your way up into the canopy proper. As you step into the elevator, Skip sort of looks around at each of you, up very high at some of you, and tries to stand up a little bit taller. And so I know you don't have a name, but you seem like a pretty good group. How do you get along? And he kind of looks at Scourge a little bit, with some curiosity here. I don't have many friends, and I think, maybe I could learn something from all of you, maybe.
Of course, little Skip. We're just 4 little peas in a pod, and, we just get along swimmingly. We all have talents that complement one another quite well. For example, we've got Scourge over here, who is very good at taking us places we need to go and finding the best hole-in-the-wall restaurants. And Honey is a bit sneaky, but very sweet. And we came up together in the monastery. And Filger, just a shining knight in armor. Just truly, the 4 of us just work together very well. And finding friends is hard, even as an adult sometimes, and we know we just kind of came across one another.
So
you have to remember, Skip, it takes a little patience. You have to be patient with people, and you have to be willing to accept their flaws and their faults, and the fact that perhaps sometimes they may not think the same way you do, but if you are meant to be birds of a feather, you will certainly find a way to come to terms with each other and meet each other halfway. And what's important, though, Skip, is that you be yourself.
Okay. And as you reach the top of the elevator, he opens up his notebook again, and leaning over, you can see him write things like learn skills, be yourself.
Scourge slowly leans down and just barely above a whisper, eat anyone you don't like. Leans back up, straightens a little bit, and continues the crouch as he moves a bit forward.
Scourge, can't you see the little
Eating.
ones a little unsettled by your presence? You should perhaps try to be a little bit more friendly.
I'm not
This-
unsettled. I'm
this
not
isn't-
unsettled at all. This
This is
you're
me
all very
friendly.
nice.
I am as friendly as I can be.
Speaking of eating, I'm in the market for a good whisk. So if you have any recommendations for that, Skip, just let me know.
A whisk?
Yeah.
Like for the kitchen?
She loves to take whisks.
I love a good whisk.
Yeah, okay. He writes on his friendship page, take whisks. As
No, you pay for the whisk. You have to pay for them. You can't just don't steal.
Okay. No stealing.
Francis
Okay.
looks over to Honey, winks.
He'll escort you off of the elevator, and you see now, very similar to the bustle of the trunk, there are again many people walking around. It's kind of interesting. So this tree city, it's not like you are tiny little woodland creatures in a kind of big oak tree. Alderheart is massive. It is one of those trees mentioned in the histories that is itself the size of a small mountain. So as you make your way through, it doesn't even feel like you're in a tree at all. There are buildings, very, very grand buildings built into each branch of the canopy here. I mean, it's a thriving metropolis, and you get to see that once again. I think each of you would be a little bit familiar with things in the canopy, as you are then shuttled your way over to the Birdfolk Council chambers. As you approach, Skip sort of straightens up again, and he stops jumping, and he starts trying to walk, which it doesn't quite work for him. His legs are a little bit awkward. It looks like he's really meant to be hopping around, but he tries his best to bring a sense of decorum as he leads you to the steps of the council chambers. As you reach the council, he opens this large door for you, and you enter in. The council hall is absolutely beautiful. It's very ornate. It sort of comes to a pitched ceiling that is made entirely of glass to let light in. It is it has its own plant life inside. Bits of the building have branches sort of running through it, but growing on each branch are various flowers, and you don't know if they're natural or if they've been crafted there, but it certainly is something that is very unique and very beautiful. So Skip will hop you over to the door to the chamber proper.
I'm sorry, Beth. We've been here before, right? Have we?
I would say that you have. I don't know that anyone else has been in the council chambers, but you definitely have. You are familiar with this space, and it kind of makes you a little uneasy as you walk in. For whatever reason, it just it feels like a bit too much. But either way, you head forward, and Skip takes you to a side door that has a placard on it that reads Mayor Sagittaria, and he'll knock on the door and wait for a reply.
Pippa
then-
whispers to Honey, "A bit fancy, don't you think? Could just, keep it simple, like at the monastery."
Yeah, I'm much more used to simple things, and this is so grand.
It's very grand, all I need is a good cot and a good whisk, and this.
The flowers are very nice, though. You can spend quite a bit of time in here, breathing in the aroma of each and every one of them, and they're always a little different and a little very, well, it's very hard to put words to it, but they're also transportive. They always remind me of different parts of the forest and different things that And he seems to be a little bit lost in thought there for a second. And anyway,
It smells
they're
great.
very
You're
they're
right.
very powerful. They always bring back lots of memories.
Oh, look, there's some peonies over there, honey. We used to have those at the monastery, which is bringing back memories for me too.
Yeah.
So you're right, Philgear. Flowers really are quite nice, but
I find that sense of smell is one that is very undervalued. What am I saying? We're all animals. It's totally normal for us to rely on a sense of smell. Never mind.
we're what?
Skip is sort of looking at you, Feelgear, and once again, he sort of regards you with deep respect. And as you are sort of at a loss for words about the flowers, he looks over and you can see his nose twitch as he sort of sniffs them to try to take in the moment. And he opens his notebook again and just writes flowers. And he knocks again on the door, and you hear from inside a voice that says, "Come in." And you are led into the office of Mayor Sagittaria. The office itself isn't quite as ornate as the rest of the space. It's very beautiful still, but it seems a little bit more minimal, perhaps, compared to the rest of it. And as you enter, you see this birdfolk woman who is incredibly tall. Very, very tall, but it's her demeanor rather than her size that commands respect. She's wearing the ornate blue robes of the Birdfolk Council. Her feathers are white with a plume of black that halos her head. And as you all enter, she says, "Thank you, Skip. Your expediency is always appreciated." And she looks at each of you, taking you in as you walk into her chambers. I'm very glad that you're all here. If you're not aware, I am Dolores Sagittaria. I've heard of your commitment to bringing supplies out of the most remote villages in the wood. The council appreciates your efforts. What, I seem to have, as she sort of looks through notes on her desk, I know that we sent out a summons for you, but we didn't quite know your name or your names as individuals, so I just sort of sent a description with Skip. I hope that he found you with ease. And then Skip sort of looks at her and just kind of gives a big nod from the corner.
Skip did a wonderful job of finding us.
That's very good to hear. Does your group have a name, just for the future when we are able to, maybe call on you again?
Yeah, we're still workshopping the name. We've got some great options. But for now, what did we decide on, gang?
Seasoned fire mamas.
Yeah, seasoned fire mamas for now, but I'm Pippa. I am a monk from the Priory of Verdant Hope up north.
Yes.
And we are just trying to do a good amount of good in this world as we can, and happy to help however we can.
I'm very glad to hear that from all of you. I do have something to discuss. And she'll sort of point over to a series of chairs and some couches that you can sit on. They sort of surround a glass table that has cups of tea already waiting that you're welcome to take if you'd like. But she calls you over, sits very primly. Her legs are very long, and so as she sits, she crosses them, but they sort of angle upward because of just their length. And as she regards you, she just says, I've called you all here once again for your help in protecting the inhabitants of the wood. As I'm sure you're aware, the bandit coalition has been growing in number, and they've now made their way to villages that are nestled within the wood's embrace. We have the Perch Guard spread thin, attempting to patrol every inch of Humblewood. They've been mostly successful in keeping the raiders out of our community, but Unfortunately, because of the need to scour every inch of the wood, our guards were unable to prevent the kidnapping of 3 of our most prolific tenders. Mystics Baal, Nosiris, and Rufius were taken in the night. It is unclear how the bandits managed to take them captive. All 3 are powerful druids. It certainly is cause for concern. If the bandits have... She sort of like seems to get lost in her own thought and is kind of like speaking to herself. If the bandits have organized mages in their ranks, we're likely looking at a long and dangerous road ahead. She sort of snaps back to it and looks at all of you. A lot of you are all skilled with survival and familiar with the many surprises that the wood can conjure up, so I ask for your help in finding the kidnapped tenders and bringing them home safely. What do you think about this?
I think it sounds, well, it sounds a bit more complicated than we're used to. That's for sure. But I know, Filger, you might have a little bit more experience with operations of this kind. Do you think this is something we could pull off?
So
Yes,
when you mention his name, he goes like deer in headlights, and you realize he's been kind of like looking really kind of weird and very kind of nervous and looking at everything but the mayor, and just like when you bring attention to him, he's like,
Can I do an insight check
Yeah. Go for it.
to figure out what is going on with you? First roll of the game.
Filger, you can make a deception check if you'd like, or
I think he's too taken right now all of a sudden to have been brought into this to really put up much in the way of defenses.
sure.
So that is 2 on the die, which is a 6.
Okay.
What do you mean? Nothing's wrong. He's perfectly normal.
You can see him sort of twitching, and the mayor looks at you upon hearing your name. Oh, I should have known. So it's you then, the great hero. Don't be so modest. We really owe you very much for your heroics.
Please don't mention it.
Okay, humble. That's very nice to see. We've got a lot who are a bit too big for their britches. Just know that we thank you, and the council is in your debt. I hate to be asking you now for another favor, but with go ahead.
Honey looks a little bit uncomfortable, so she kind of wants to change the subject, and she looks at the mayor and says, "Madam Mayor, we just are supply runners. What makes you think that we can handle a mission like this?"
That's a great question.
Well, we are aware that because you are experienced with traversing the wood, you all seem to be very adept at making your way through, and I believe that you also might be familiar with the unique dangers that tend to show up throughout the wood. Also, she sort of looks down and kind of wonders whether she should be entirely honest with you or not, and she seems to settle on honesty, and she says, "I'll be entirely frank with you. Our perch guard is spread too thin. We have units out everywhere in the wood trying to protect from another invasion from the bandits. The head of the perch guard was able to see just last night a group of bandits traversing down the Crest Mountains. They're not really sure what their plan is. There were quite a number of them, and they seem to have scattered, but they have eyes on them, and they're sort of waiting to see what might happen. With that known, I wouldn't care to send members of our Perch Guard away from the city. So I had hoped that we could find a way to make this a deal that might perhaps work for you. I have plenty of information that I can give you to prepare you for this trip, but with all honesty, it's you are the right people at this current time.
We're disposable.
No, not disposable. I don't believe that, truly. I do. No, I don't know. I don't know what to say to you.
This is royal speak for last resort kind of thing.
Well, however you look at it, we need someone, or a group of someones, to venture to the bandits' hideout. It will be dangerous, but you will be compensated. We have things in the way of gold and riches. We can offer you housing in the canopies. It's the safest place you could be in the wood. And if none of that appeals to you, then perhaps your kind hearts. I'm not quite sure what else to offer at this point.
Mayor Sagittaria, it'll be our pleasure, and of course our duty to serve in any way we can, and we'll do this. Of course, we'll do this. We'll do anything we can to make sure that he's really like. He totally he's not usually lost for words. So he's like,
Scourge loudly plunks a sugar cube into his tea, stirs it.
We will do it.
My feathered friend means that we would be, at least the two of us would be more than happy to join. Hippa, honey.
Of course, I think that it's good to get rid of ruffians, especially if there's risk of them causing harm to innocents. That's kind of what I set out to do. So I'm happy to help where I can. And but what about you, honey? How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I think we should help.
I think a house is a nice offer. I don't think I've had my own house before.
I don't think we require anything. Of course, it is our duty to help in any way we can. And Mayor Sagittaria,
fuel gear like on the side, like.
It'll be our pleasure and our honor to assist you, madam, in this endeavor. And well, I for one pledge myself entirely to your service and promise to do my utmost to see this mission through.
I believe you will. You've proven to be a great asset to our council and to really the wood. So I trust that. I will find ways to repay you for this. But I suppose we should discuss the logistics of this. We believe that the tenders were brought to the bandits' base. It's sort of nestled in the Crest Mountains. They took over an abandoned fortress there. It doesn't really have much in way of protection, but it's a building that might, keep them out of the snow. Currently, the newest leader of the bandit coalition is Benna Saradin. She is a servant with increasingly radical views. An outpost saw this group of bandits descending from the mountains just yesterday. We didn't lay eyes on Benna, so we believe that she might still be up at the base, and that's sort of why we believe that they might, be kept there. We also weren't able to find some of her lackeys, for lack of a better word. So we think there might be a small faction of them remaining in the mountains. and we would like for you to go there. It'll take a little while, so I'm hoping that you'll agree to leave as soon as possible. But if you need rest, if you need anything, just let me know. I do have a few things for you. And she walks over to a side table that has 4 little sections of items laid out just so. And she brings over to each of you a satchel and also a vial. And she says, what I have for you here might help. Well, it might give you peace of mind, and it'll certainly help to heal you if you're struggling. And she hands you each a potion of greater healing. And the small pouch that she hands each of you contains 5 good berries.
Oh, wow.
Feel free to use this. I mean, I don't know what else to give you at this point. You do seem very skilled. I see that you're well equipped. But if you'd like to purchase anything else, or if we can provide anything else, I'd be happy to write a letter that you can present to any of the vendors in the city to obtain things that might be useful to you.
Madam, these gifts, like your voice and your presence, are a balm that will soothe the most ghastliest of wounds, and I thank you. We thank you very, very humbly for them.
She's sort of she's got a look on her face, and she's like, oh gosh, this guy. Okay. Again, really it is us who should be thanking you, but I see that we can go around in circles here. So what do you say? Would you be willing and able to head out today?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. All right. Skip. And Skip sort of comes by. Yes, Mayor. Please escort these fine adventurers to the market. If anything is needed and required, they can just present one of my letters. And he nods knowingly. This isn't the first time this has been done. So she will sort of give you a look that says this is done now, and Skip knows to then usher you away into the city proper.
Oh, Hippa jumps to her feet and she's like, time to go whisk shopping, y'all.
Filgir will bow. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Filgir will bow. It's a pleasure. Mayor, and we shall endeavor to, and as he backs out, we shall endeavor to see that our quest is successful, and we shall return with good news. God, that's terrible. And he turns around.
Hippa's like pushing,
nods.
like kind of pushing Fulgir out the door, like to help save him from further embarrassment. Just like, come on, let's go.
Outside, he's like, so stupid.
Dude,
So stupid.
what was that? What happened in there? I've never seen you like that. Are you good? Do you need a hug? What's happening?
I'm stupid.
No, you're not stupid. I'm just very confused.
Scourge will be coming out, and as he does, you have what the youth call a lack of game, and keeps going.
Draws himself up. Perhaps.
Skip several paces ahead and is just looking back at all of you.
We can catch up. Yeah, we gotta catch up. Whoa! You and me, sir, are gonna talk later because I need to know what's going on with that young lady in there. But for now, I think we should follow the young man over that way.
He will lead you towards the marketplace, and he sort of he leans over to Honey, because you seem safe, and
little does he know.
He'll say, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but and he holds up the note that the mayor gave him. You could truly get anything with this, like anything that you've ever wanted. I mean, you name it, and it's yours. It's amazing.
What would you get?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would get a set of fine, proper robes. I would get my very own sword and shield, and oh gosh, I really like the sweets that they have at this one vendor. I think I would get a lot of those too.
Maybe we can stop for some on our way out.
I mean, this is for you. I couldn't, but if you want as many sweets as you want, you can definitely get those.
Did someone say sweets? Did I hear?
Yes, there are sweets all over, and I'll show you my favorite ones. And he'll sort of hop along and take you to each location. And if anybody needs, their sword polished or, any new goods, you can definitely acquire those here.
And I get a couple of components. I need components.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
It's a
need nothing
kind of-
that money can buy. As I stare longingly at the top of.
Skip looks at the paper and he's like, I don't think this works for that.
I think Hippa pats her side. She's got her little boomerang, and she kind of straightens her robes a little. And she's like, I think I've got everything I need. I will take the most affordable, most ethically sourced whisk that you have. But other than that, I think I'm good. And some sweets.
So Skip will lead you over to one of the many vendors here. They this particular one is draped with very fine magenta fabrics, and there's like a very lovely smell coming from what might be incense, and there's a placard sort of above the tent that says "Yonda's wear for yonder." And you're greeted by Yonda, who has a little bit of everything, but there definitely seems to be plenty of home goods available to you. So you're able to find several whisk options, and you can choose whichever makes you feel fantastic. If you need anything else, we can keep looking. Otherwise, well, I guess that's goodbye then.
Can I find like a piece of cork and like a fairly substantial needle?
He sort of looks at you like, what's that for? And he's starting to think about, you hear him muttering like, I don't, maybe in the roots we could find things like that. And then it comes to him and he's like, yes, there's an apothecary. We can go there. They have everything that you need, and he'll take you over and get those items for you too.
Okay. I use Scroungecraft and I make a little like sword for Skip.
He looks at you, and his giant dark eyes well up with tears, and he holds it up. This is perfect. Thank you. And he clutches it to his chest. I really hope that you all come back safely, and I hope to hear stories of your adventures, and I hope that none of you die.
Thank you, young man. You'll make a fine squire someday. You keep plugging at it. You've got grit, I'll tell you that.
Thank you. And he sort of looks around eagerly and hops off back in the direction of the council. So you are left here in the canopy. You could very easily... Oh, go ahead.
Did we get your spell components?
Yeah, we can get... We got all that. Whatever
Okay,
you
I
need,
got those.
it's yours.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I think we're ready to head out.
That was
Excellent.
very sweet of you, honey.
Really, really was.
He seems like a sweet boy.
We'll just hope he doesn't trip and stab himself through the heart with it, which would be a terrible thing.
Gosh, I will
Yeah.
not do
Be-
that.
That would
Stabbed
be
right
good.
through the heart and have your heart cleaved in half.
Okay, man, what is happening with you right now? Okay.
Nothing.
Usually you're all like, I am very strong and I am so cool, and now you're like sad boy all of a sudden.
On a note of our upcoming journey, where exactly were we heading? I think I might be familiar with it a bit.
The Crest Mountains, I believe it is.
Yeah, the you with your other belongings, you were sort of given a bit of a tutorial with a large map that she had. It shows the giant tree that represents Alderheart, surrounded by what you know is the wood. To the east of that is just a dark patch of arid land. That would be the Scorched Grove. And then just beyond that are the Crest Mountains. She was able to point out on the map roughly where the fortress is supposed to be. People haven't really ventured there in quite a while, so you might have to do some looking, but generally speaking, she can tell you the direction to go. You do know that you've got a bit of a journey through the wood before you reach the edge to the Scorched Grove. And, most of you have traveled through different parts of the wood, perhaps not directly from the city to the Scorched Grove, but you feel confident that you'll be just fine. It's just another day in the wood.
How do we travel?
Oh, by foot. Or you can glide. I mean, I know that you've got wings, so whatever works best for you.
A heavy heart cannot soar.
Well, then we'll just put one foot in front of the other then. How's that?
As we have always done.
Except sometimes you fly, so not necessarily always. But anyway, yes.
You begin
Onward.
your trek into the dense forest that is known as the Humblewood itself. It's really rather lovely. I mean, things are very beautiful here. There are so many different types of trees that range in size. Nothing quite as large as Alderheart, but there are some that come fairly close. Everything here is just washed with green. But there are patches of various flowers, and there are very adorable toadstool mushrooms that sort of eke their way off of trees. Any number of bugs and creatures, some more frightening than others. But as you venture into the wood, you sort of gather yourselves and make your way forward. I would like for everybody to make a survival roll to see sort of how we start things off here in the wood. Let me know.
I'm quite
What
good
you
at
get?
that.
Moderately okay at survival.
Yes.
I got a 16.
Okay. Very nice.
15.
15. Okay.
15 also.
19.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So for this first leg of the journey, you all feel wonderful. You're able to make it through. There are some paths that have been forged, and you're able to sort of find your way to each of those easily enough. Some of them require you to travel through a bit of like dense underbrush, but it's not too difficult for you. You are able to travel at a pretty decent pace. Do you think that you would be going fast, average speed? Would there be any need to, kind of be slow and sneaky? How do you think you'd approach this?
I think I would be trying to get there. I mean, there's people in danger, right? We got
Yeah.
to get there. Save
Bit of
these
a-
people.
You
Say
got it.
probably a brisk pace.
Yeah.
Scourge is not a fast person by nature, so as briskly walking as he gets.
No, and Honey and Impa probably have very short legs, so
Oh
It's
yeah,
possible.
very short but very live.
very
Yeah, I'm
spry.
actually
and
quite fast because I am a monk, so I'm they're short little steps, but they're like
Super quick.
So
going
a
fast.
brisk
Yeah.
but comfortable pace.
Yeah.
Perfect. A lovely, quick stroll through the woods. As you venture forward, you enter patches of the wood that are a little bit more shaded and covered. There are bits of trees and vines that sort of encase you in what almost feels like a tunnel of foliage. And along the tunnel, you see sort of motes of pollen that float through in any sort of patch of light that comes by in different colors, almost looking like glitter. It's rather beautiful, and you're familiar with this. You know that this is totally normal in this area of the wood. As you continue, I would say, let's see, what is everybody's passive perception?
12.
Okay.
13.
11.
Okay.
9.
Okay. So I would say that Fjolgir, you're the first to sort of notice as you're traveling along a path, in the corner of your eye, you see several yards away. It looks like a fallen branch that is standing upright and is sort of moving its way forward, kind of in the same direction that you're going, but it's slow. But you notice it's just a stick that kind of moves. It's curious.
Are any of you aware if tree ants have small children?
Not that I can recall. Why?
Because if they did, I would say that one of them is currently following us. However, if they do not, then it is someone who is perhaps hoping to pass themselves off as a wandering branch.
Diplomatic or my way? How do we want to do this, Hippo?
Can I use druid craft to kind of just do like a puff of wind to see if it'll knock it over? Very
Sure,
gently.
It is a little bit far away. I would say it's probably at least 20 feet in distance from you.
Okay.
And sort of a lot of it's obscured by the brush, but you do sort of see this like slow and steady moving stick.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I don't want to
sorry.
like attack it. I just want to see if it's like able to interact with. So if I sent like a little gust of wind, if it would move it at all, to try to see if it's actually a stick or maybe something else.
Perhaps Honey could fade into the foliage and double back, and once this thing catches up, we continue blithely on our way, and then once this thing catches up with us, Honey comes up behind it and investigates the situation.
Yeah, I can do that.
Of course you
Excellent.
can. You're
So just
gifted.
everybody act normal. Like we don't see it. And Hippa kind of starts to walk a little bit stiffly because she's not good at lying.
Honey, you can sort of circle back around to where you find that you are almost in line with this stick that is just now moving just about straight ahead from your perspective. Still a bit covered by the brush, but you are at the same distance as your friends, but now you're kind of behind it.
Can I make like an investigation check or something to see if I know what it is or can figure out what it is?
Yeah, absolutely.
19.
19. Yeah, absolutely. So you are able to see, as you look at it, at this vantage point, you can see that it doesn't really look much like a stick. It's in your mind. You know you've seen this before, and it takes you a moment. But as you see sort of the way that this stick is moving and just sort of weaving just a little bit, it dawns on you, and you just take a moment, take a breath, and relax as you recognize a giant rhinoceros beetle just several paces ahead of you. You would know, I would say, from your time in the wood that generally speaking, these are harmless. They can be a bit territorial, but overall, they're not anything that is especially dangerous in this wood.
And it's been like following our group?
What you can see with a 19, it just seems to be on its own little path. Your path just happens to be alongside it, and I would say that you would think it's safe to assume that it doesn't mean you any harm.
I'll go back to the group and report what I see.
Oh, beetle.
Yeah. I think he's just going about his own business.
Noted.
With that behind you, you're able to continue forward. Not very suspicious of anything in the wood. Everything seems to be normal.
I wonder if it's going the same place we're going.
Do I know what they eat?
Make like either an animal handling or just like a straight nature roll for me. Whatever you prefer.
I'll do animal handling.
Okay.
That is a natural 20.
A natural 20?
That's a 24. What a stupid thing to roll a nat 20 on. What does it eat?
So the giant variety of this rhinoceros beetle has a varied diet. So it really enjoys the there are sort of these plants that seem almost like cacti, but they instead of spikes, it's just sort of gentle tufts of fur that adorn it. It really enjoys those because they're kind of crunchy. And you also know though that they do like to dig with sort of the beak part of their face for worms and any other little bugs, millipedes that it might find in the dirt.
Okay. Then I think I will use some druid craft just to do a little patch of like the fuzzy cactus on the side of the road. Maybe just to give us like a little bit of distance from it and to make it happy.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely do that. I would say that if and when he finds it, it'll be very exciting for him.
Cool. Yeah, I'll just do that on the side of the road. So it's not in the middle of the road. So that he's like off to the side a little safely.
Excellent. Yeah.
Safety first, folks.
Safe from this monstrous, deadly beetle. You are able to continue your way forward. There is a portion of the wood that then sort of curves southward. The terrain gets a little bit more rocky, and you find yourselves sort of edging up and down not quite hills, but just variation in the terrain. And at that point, you realize that you are nearing what is known as the Gouge. This is a very large ravine that sort of scars the land from I would say, really the entire length north to south of the wood. It's not very wide across. Generally speaking, there are points where it can be traversable, but it is very, very deep. So knowing this, as you each move forward, you're able to see sort of the edge of the trees that, stop as we get to this rocky hole in the ground.
Familiarity, this.
I was just thinking the Gouge sounds like the kind of place the Scourge were living.
It was for some time.
Oh, was it nice down there?
There's this moment of disquiet, and even with the rictus smile Scourge looks to Hippin, it was fine for a time, I suppose.
Well, I'm sure you much more enjoy being out in the fresh air with us.
Long, deep breath. We'll say
Sure.
that, sure.
Oh, you know you like us. You just pretend like you're a big tough guy.
Scourge.
Whatever you say.
Just the longest hesitation after saying you like us. Just no response. Amazing.
Yeah. Scourge, as you sort of realize that this is where you're going, you're sort of flooded with memories of your time in the gouge. Not all of them are bad. I mean, there are good portions of it that just sort of have falling water, not full-on waterfalls, but places where the water falls through and offers kind of a peaceful resonance as you spend time down there. There are other portions, though, that have attracted some interesting wildlife. Clearly, wildlife that has been sort of created by the fires. But you all head forward. You see this stretch. From where you currently stand, it's about 25 feet across, but you might be able to find another way north or south of it.
Would you know, Scourge, having lived here before, if there is a way to safely traverse this?
Would I? Safety is not exactly a thing that the gouge was known for.
You can make I would say either a survival roll or even like a history check to see what you recall of this space.
I'm gonna go with survival.
Sure.
Let's see. Ugh. That's an 8.
An 8. Okay. Yeah, you most of your time was spent at the bottom of the gouge. You know that there are certain parts, if you did look up, that seemed a little bit more closed than others, but you're not quite sure based on where you are currently where those might be.
Dump it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. It's right here. It's about 25 feet across. You could try to find a way that might be a little bit closer, but there are any number of ways you can try to get across this.
I lived far more at the bottom of the gouge. Getting across is traversable. We just need to find a place where the getting across is less hazardous, shall we say. At least for those like me that don't have the gift of flight or a flea's jumping ability, shall we put it.
I am very good jumper. My mom always told me that, yes.
And I suppose if push comes to shove, I could always just looks over to Honey, pick you up and just throw you across.
For a second, I thought you were going to push and shove her into the gouge.
I would never deign to harm, dear Honey.
Sorry, I'm already scrounge crafting a bridge to get myself across and away from Scourge.
I mean, how much can you lift Fielger? Like, is it possible to pick someone up and fly them over?
Unfortunately, my wings don't quite function that way. If I were to fall, I would probably survive the fall as they would help me glide down. But, I mean, perhaps if I could launch from certain height, I could get across. And certainly you or Honey would not be too onerous to carry across. Unfortunately, Scourge might prove to be a little bit more than I could chew. Or fly across, as it were.
Honey, I know you're working on a bridge here. Why don't you make, let's say, like just a dexterity roll, straight dexterity roll to see how well you're able to put this together.
22.
Yeah. Okay. So, looking around.
Sorry, can you tell us what you're doing, Deb? I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, so I can look around for materials and craft anything. It's useful once and then it breaks, but if I take more time, it becomes permanent. So I guess it's up to
awesome.
Beth, how long it would take. Because I think the the thing itself says that it would take 8 hours to make it permanent. I don't know that we need a permanent one, but if we can like take a little bit of time and make it across with just the 4 of us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I can jump it with Step of the Wind. So you'd only need to get 3 across with the bridge.
Yeah. I think it's worth a shot here. Okay, so Honey, you work diligently using material that you find all around you. There are endless pieces of fallen branch and vine and things that you can work with. You also have some things in your pack that you carry regularly because you know they're especially helpful. And
I have rope also. I have 50 feet of rope.
Yeah. In time, I think you're able to make what might be considered a passable bridge. And as you sort of maneuver this large thing to, I guess, span the stretch of it and see, roll a d20 for me.
Can I give any sort of, is this just a random d20 or is this a skill?
This is a random d20.
I'm gonna use my advantage because I rolled a 3, so I'm gonna roll again.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
16.
16. Okay. So you and your friends sort of heft this ladder bridge in a way that it bows just so as you sort of try to lean it across the way, and very gently you're able to set it down and you wait. And it stays. You're feeling a little tentative about it, but it's there. And as you take a breath, looking at this potential way across, that is where we're going to take our break.
No.
Yeah, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes here, and we'll see what our group is able to do to get across the gouge. Oh, welcome back. So glad you're here. Where we left off was sort of a precarious place with the group unnamed, attempting to cross this stretch of the gouge, a very large crevice or, bit of land here. I know that we have some folks that are confident in jumping across, so we'll see how that goes. And then Honey has very cleverly crafted a bridge of sorts to go across. So I would like to have everybody make a roll of their choice in getting across this bridge. So Hippa,
I will go last, by the way, so that if anyone falls over, I can jump in and try to rescue them,
Sure. Yeah,
All
absolutely. I know Hippa, you were planning on jumping, so if you wanted to roll for making your way across that way. Scourge, are you going to try to use Honey's bridge?
I'm going to try to use the bridge. I will.
Okay.
I will give Honey the courtesy of getting across first if they are going to.
Yeah. So I would say, honey, depending on how you want to approach crossing this bridge that you've created, I would say, I mean, you can make like straight dex roll if you wanted to use other skills to get yourself across that would sort of help this. You are more than welcome to, but you tell me how you're gonna make this move.
Some sort of acrobatics. So I'm going to use acrobatics.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you can give me that roll. How's it looking for you?
14.
14. Okay, sure. And Hippa, what does your jump look like here? How is that going?
So it looks like because my walking speed is 35,
Mm-hmm.
my long jump is number of feet up to your strength score. If I move at least 10 feet on foot immediately before the jump. So running start 10 feet, so that's 12. But with Step of the Wind, if I spend a key point, I can double that jump distance, which is 24.
Sure. Okay.
Which is kind of cutting it close. So is there any way I could do like an acrobatics check or something to like get that last little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
Cool.
Let's see what you got.
We could slingshot you.
Could do that.
No need because I got an 18.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So as everyone sort of stands towards the edge of this cliff face here, getting themselves ready to make their way across, Hippa, you take a look at it and you turn around and start to walk away. And before anyone could sort of look and think, what is going on here, you launch yourself across, and with just the fastest tiny little legs,
Has just little limbs, and I want my
Yes.
limbs to like flail in midair as I'm going.
They absolutely do. And that it is that flailing that gives you just enough movement to make it to the other side. So you
I'll do
are
a somersault on the other side and pop back up.
perfect. Yes,
Ta-da!
with ease. It wasn't difficult for you at all. You were able to make it. And now you stand on the other side watching your friends try to do their
Survive.
thing. Yeah, I mean, good luck, right?
Golly, that was refreshing, I'll tell you.
So honey, for getting across, what did your rolls end up being?
A 14 acrobatics. And so I was gonna
Okay.
since I built this bridge, I kind of know where the weak spots are. So I'm gonna kind of
Yeah.
hop my way across.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're able to hop across. You do sort of encounter a couple little moments where you feel it sort of bow underneath you, but it doesn't break. So that feels good, right? And you're fairly confident that Scourge can make his way across too. Scourge, how do you plan on using this bridge to get across?
So surprisingly, Scourge is actually a little bit dexterous. So he's going to probably just go to all fours and see if he can just kind of clamber across.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a roll for it.
I'm gonna use acrobatics for it.
Perfect.
That's an 8.
An 8. Okay, you do have an advantage.
I'm gonna go ahead and use that.
All right, yeah, go for it. Fingers crossed.
Oh, that's worse. So
Okay.
I have an 8.
You have an 8. Okay, so
I am ready to jump if needs be.
you begin crossing, and you reach sort of a third of the way across, and you're feeling okay about it. So far, it feels like it's still pretty sturdy. As you continue forward, the way that it bows is clearly different than under Honey's weight, and you sort of feel it start to bow and slip a little bit downward. I would say give me just a straight D20 roll, and we'll see if you're able to just really quickly use any strength of this bridge and launch yourself across to grab on.
13.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Okay, so So you're just able to. I think with that roll, the bridge absolutely buckles beneath you, and you're able to just in a moment with your very long, very scary claws hold on to the edge and get yourself up.
Are you all right, Scourge?
Slowly looks up, looks to Fjolgir, looks to Honey. I'm fine. Think the thing wasn't designed for something my size.
Perhaps it was your old home calling you back.
Well, if the gorge wants me, it'll take me when it's time.
Well, I'm glad you survived.
Well, we don't have time to unpack all of that, but
He's
glad
going.
you're okay.
He's going to, as he gets up, purposefully is going to leave 3 claw marks in the ground in a crescent shape,
Nice.
and stands, whispers something to himself, and then keeps going.
Excellent.
Honey backs up a couple of steps and just says, I'm so sorry. I thought it was stronger than it was.
No harm done, honey. You made it perfect.
You did a great job, hun.
I'm just a little bit bigger than people expect.
All that conscience weighing down on him.
Sure.
Fjolgir, how do you attempt to get across? There's
Come on
no
over.
bridge. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to walk up to the edge of the hole and I'm look down into it, and I will just drop into it.
Yeah. Okay. Are you trying to land anywhere specific? Looking for
No, what I'll do is I will use my glide. After I've fallen about 10 feet, I can use my gliding to move my full movement rate in any direction.
Okay.
So I will do that to move forward to the other side. So I should be about 10 feet down. And with my talons, I get to get advantage on athletics check made to climb any surface my talons could reasonably grip. So I'm assuming that once I hit on the other side, I can fall down and then
Perfect.
climb out of this hole with an athletics check.
Yeah, give me a roll for it. Let's see how it goes.
All right, I will do it with advantage.
Perfect.
Wait, so we just see you jump off the cliff?
Yeah, it's really like, goodbye, cruel world. No, I don't say
Oh,
anything.
no. He was so sad earlier. Oh no.
There we go, 19.
19. Oh yeah. Yeah, with ease, you dip completely out of sight for just a moment. And before you're able to grasp on, your group has a moment of panic. But then they do hear the sound of scraping talons as you find purchase on the side of this craggy rock. And from there, you are able to sort of claw your way up.
Show off.
Climb up.
You scared us there for a second.
I'm sorry. It just felt like, well, it's always fun to take advantage of the little things nature has given us once in a while. Shall we continue then? Unless, Scourge, you would like to revisit your old stomping grounds for
What? Sentimental reasons?
sentimental reasons?
Mm.
I was going to say melancholic, but sure.
Looks back down the gorge itself. I don't think anything remaining there for me to be sentimental about. Let's move on.
Well, I did lose my rope as I look at the remains of the bridge down at the bottom of the thing.
Here, you can have mine, and Hippa just gives you rope.
You're very kind, Hippa. Your heart, I don't know how you carried in such a little frame, for it is so big.
As you
It helps
all
having friends like you guys. Anyway, let's go.
goodness gracious. As you leave the edge of this big gouge in the ground, a scar on the earth, you see just about 5 feet ahead of you the wall of trees that makes the rest of the wood ahead of you. And shortly after walking in, you're probably only got about 20, 30 feet in. You start to feel just a hint of warmth. Can I have somebody make... Let's call this a survival roll.
I think that'd be Scourge's business.
I'm pretty good at that too.
We can have two of you make rolls. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeet. Wow. I'm terrible right now. That's a 6 from me.
I got a 12
That's much better.
Okay.
Easy
Yeah.
use.
So
plus 4. It's an 8 plus 4. 12.
okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you feel like maybe for a moment that the exertion of launching your body across this gouge maybe kind of gave you a little flush, and then the warmth becomes a little bit greater than you would expect from something like that. And in a moment or so, you're able to then hear just a distant fluttering sound. And that's when you know. You turn behind you to see what looks like kind of a murmuration of birds, but there's a bit of like a misty smoke that then follows through, and you know immediately from all of your time in the wood that is a cluster of ember bats. And
That doesn't sound good.
Oh my god, they're cute.
We'll
though.
see.
Oh god, they're so cute though.
The ember bats individually are, yes, very cute. They look like your average bat, but their upturned triangular nose comes to a point which then is lit on fire like a small candle. And this group of ember bats is sort of drifting here and there. It doesn't look like they're coming directly towards you, but the heat of them feels increasingly intense. You would know, I would say, Hippa, with the role that you have, that these are not uncommon since the time of the Great Fire and the scarring of land in the Scorched Grove. These ember bats have been becoming more and more prevalent. What is a little bit concerning, however, is that more recently, their swarms have become larger. And with that comes more danger. So this seems to be larger than you've seen, but it doesn't seem too bad, perhaps, as this heat sort of meanders its way towards you. You see it from behind, just slowly cresting over the ravine that you've just crossed.
Look alive, folks. It's about to get batty in here.
Woof. I take damage for that.
Bleak season isn't the only one with puns.
Oh my goodness.
That one was particularly pungent.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
welcome.
Lord.
You're welcome. I learned from the best, really. I just try to model myself.
Does this look like a fight, Hippa?
They're just a swarm of bats out for a leisure flight in the middle of the night.
Nothing is a pleasure fight near the gorge.
It worries me that the potential fire hazard of them flying around, but also they do seem to be minding their own business. Oh, I don't know.
Honey, can I have you make a survival check here?
Ooh, that's a 7.
7. Okay. Yeah, that's a swarm of bats. You have just a very brief understanding of what these ember bats do. Generally speaking, you know that they are harmless, but like Hippa just said, they, have potential to start some fires. As you sort of start moving forward further away from the edge of this ravine, the cluster of bats seems to take notice of you, and out of curiosity or some type of interest, they do sort of flutter as a group together closer towards you. And bit by bit, as they become closer and closer, you feel a heat that becomes more and more oppressive. And you feel that perhaps it's time to move. The bats just continue to come towards you.
Perhaps it would be best if we were to hurry on our way. My feathers are starting to feel a little singed.
Let's hoof it.
And Scourge is going to turn and go from the crouch, just drop straight onto all fours and just start running.
Here we go.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yes, let's
so
run.
seeing your movement, the group of these ember bats follows with curiosity. They come closer to you and closer, the heat waning as they find themselves falling back and then increasing again as they get closer to you. And you find yourself sort of following this path that has been wrought through this part of the wood. And you come to not quite a clearing, but a more open space that has a bit of a path that sort of weaves around and trees and bushes and things as these ember bats sort of come closer and closer towards you. And I do want everyone to roll for initiative.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, now I roll high. 17.
17.
I
okay.
rolled so high. I rolled a 19 on the dice. That's a 22.
Amazing. Okay.
I rolled an 18.
18. Okay. Perfect. And how about fuel gear?
7.
7. Lucky
Yeah,
number
7.
7.
I don't know how lucky it is, but it's something.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm just gonna, we've got a map here that sort of shows, you can see where the cluster of bats is, and you all sort of make your way. You can move your tokens to wherever you think you would have been in the order here, but they do start coming closer and closer towards you. They start to descend and dip a little bit just towards the end, and Scourge, it looks like you're the closest, so they are going to dive down and try to swarm you a little bit. Nothing too aggressive in terms of like biting or anything like that. They do just kind of dive bomb you. And what is your armor class?
12.
12. Okay, perfect. So they are going to come by, and you'll take just 2 points of fire damage as the heat sort of overwhelms you just a little bit. Okay, and then let's see. I'm sorry, can everyone repeat their initiative again?
So if you don't mind, a little trick, if you want, is to left click on your characters, guys, on your tokens, and you'll see a label, and you can write your initiative there, and it'll be easier for
Mine was
Amazing.
to keep track.
22.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Perfect.
They are so cute.
Very cute, and I'm thinking very deadly as well. So these ember bats descend upon you. The first up in the initiative order is Hippa. What would you like to
Okay,
do as you
so-
see this cluster come forward?
Are we actively running away from them, or are we stopping to fight these things?
You tell me.
Because they did just attack
It did.
Scourge.
And they're
So-
dangerous. We should put them out. I get it. Put them out.
Yeah. Do I know that these are, like I said before, like a potential fire hazard? Like it could light this part of the wood on fire if we don't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely a chance of that. They don't make it their goal, but it definitely can happen.
So then Hippa's gonna do like a quick turn on her heel and bound backwards about 10 feet to be up where all of these bats are. And she's just gonna start smacking at them to try to get them to leave them alone.
Perfect. Yeah. Go ahead and you can make an attack.
I'm making an unarmed strike.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna be a 20 to hit.
Oh yeah, that'll absolutely hit several of the bats in the swarm.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's 7 damage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you come forward. You're able to sort of jump with surprising grace into this cluster of bats that have just sort of dived down and attacked your friend. And as you do, it's sort of like you're a flame in their moths. They are attracted to you, and you are able to take down many of them. It looks like their numbers have been slashed just a little bit, and
Cool.
Some of the ember bats do fly away, having seen
Okay.
this.
So then I think I am gonna flurry of blows then,
Sure,
since I have them here.
absolutely.
So let me spend a key point. Flurry of blows is 2 attacks. So the first
Indeed.
one is a 24 to hit, and the second one is only a 12 to hit.
12 just hits. So
Cool.
you're able to take 2 more strikes against them. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And then I'd like to use my open hand technique to, because I hit with my flurry of blows attack, I would like to push them 15 feet, but they have to make a strength saving throw. DC is
Okay.
12.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, no, they are not strong at all. They
Cool.
rolled an 8.
So that's 10 damage from the 2 attack and push them 15 feet backwards.
Perfect. Yeah, so they are sent backwards, edging again sort of towards the edge of the ravine, and you see a couple others leave. By now, honestly, this swarm has halved in size.
I'm just like, sorry. Please stop hurting my friend. Please stop.
Just
Also, get away.
punching bats, yeah, as one does. And so they sort of back up again. They raise up a little bit higher in the air, a little bit wary of you specifically now. Is there anything else that you wanted to do on this turn?
No, but when I land, I do like a really cool pose.
Absolutely. Yes, the coolest pose. Is this like a superhero landing? You know,
It's more
one
like
hand on
a-
the ground. Oh,
No,
okay.
it's more like a martial arts
Yes.
dance.
Perfect. Okay, I love this for you. Yes. Okay, so the ember bats have been battered by just a annihilator in
Another
our
pun.
monk.
Another pun.
Uh-huh. So next up then we will have Honey.
All right, I'm gonna dart up and kind of skirt around Scourge a little bit to here and pull out my short bow.
Okay.
And Honey's like trembling a little bit at this point. She doesn't like bats. She's seen them in the monastery before, and she tries to stay away from them. So she's a bit disappointed that she has to use both hands to wield her short bow, because she would prefer to have one paw in front of her face while fighting these, but she can't do that. So she is going to use her short bow, and she rolls a 15, which I believe you said hits.
Yeah, that'll hit.
All right. And then she does 6 damage.
So you shoot your arrow into this cluster of bats, and with absolute precision and just the best timing, you're able to skewer 6 of them onto this bolt, and your bolt lands with a shish kebab of ember bats, their candle noses having been snuffed out. What else would you like to do on this turn?
I'm gonna stay right there, so that does it for me.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. With that, another one or two ember bats sort of flies off into the distance to join the rest of their group. This swarm is now sort of writhing, almost like a bunch of bees that are feeling a little bit confused, and so the heat from them is sort of like gusting to and fro a little bit further as they sort of find their way to where they need to be. And so the next up, it looks like, is Scourge.
Scourge is going to rise from being on all fours, get out of the crouch and stand straight. And as he swings out his right arm, he's going to hold it up, lick his teeth, and sends out a blast of black energy, sending out an eldritch blast at the bats.
Yes, do it.
That is a 15.
Oh yeah, that hits.
Rolling my damage. 12 force damage.
So this harried swarm of ember bats is sort of forming itself together again, and you let out just this wave of eldritch energy. It smacks them head on, this whole group, and they are catapulted backwards. You see a lot of them sort of puff out into little bits of smoke as they disappear entirely, and a few others that remain fly away, not looking back. And for a moment, you feel quiet. The air cools down a bit. The temperature resumes to normal, though right now it feels a little bit cold compared to, what you've just experienced. And as you take a moment, take a breath, you hear something. It sounds almost like it's a low rumble. It sounds almost like a rock slide, but that doesn't make sense because it's not coming from behind you, it's coming from forward in the wood, and it's just grass and hills, and that vibration becomes a bit louder, and you see before you, slithering from a bit of a cavern.
Oh no!
Yes.
God, it's so cool.
Oh my god!
This is an ash snake. It is absolutely enormous. When opening its mouth, its flaming, fiery mouth, it could very easily grab 3, if not all 4 of you, and swallow you whole. Its length you're not even sure of because half of its body perhaps is still nestled into its hole that it's just scurried out of. And you see, when you look at it, the scales on its body are black and gray, ashen looking, but as its body moves and those scales adjust, you see these just bits of flame that appear to sort of spark underneath it, like its entire body is made of embers and ash. But looking at it, its eyes are sort of like this disarming milky white color, and the snake sort of veers out, coming closer towards you, and opens its big flaming mouth. And
Before
yeah.
my turn ends,
yeah,
I'm going to use my bonus action.
Mhm.
And I'm going to slowly withdraw from the robe a long sickle. And as I spin it and clutch and the claws dig in, there's a ringing sound, and I'm going to cast Hexblade's Curse on it.
Incredible. I love that. Okay, so It is hexed. Okay. Perfect.
Hex yeah.
Hex yeah. Okay, so we have this large monstrosity barreling down on you. It has now been hit with a Hexblade's curse, and Feelgear, you are up, not having expected this mess to jump on you.
Well, that escalated quickly. Take heart, my friend. The twilight is our ally, and the moon shines to show us the way to victory. And with that, I will summon a moonbeam that will crash land on this thing's head. Let's say like right here. I'm going to, I don't know, put something with this to signify my moonbeam.
The moonbeam.
It's not invisible. It's just my moonbeam. All right. I will drop the moonbeam as soon as I find my character sheet. All right. Here we go. As an action, 5-foot radius. When a creature enters a spell area for the first time on turn or starts its turn there, it is engulfed in ghostly flames that cause searing pain. They must make a Constitution saving throw, but it's not entering it.
Ooh.
And it's not starting the turn there, so wait a second. Maybe what I will do is, instead of putting it on it, I will put it here, so that when it comes for us. So yeah, so I will summon that there, the moonbeam right in front of us. I'm never clear whether you can cast a bonus action spell after you've cast a regular spell. Can someone clarify that for me?
I don't think you can cast 2 spells in one turn. I think you can cast a cantrip, though, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna help me. Okay, so I will do that as my action, and then because I'm a priest and not a fighter of any sort, I will.
Yeah, on the turn you cast a bonus action spell. You can't cast another spell before or after it unless that spell is a cantrip with a casting time of 1 action. So you can cast. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I will actually. I want to make sure he goes through it. So I will just after I've summoned the moonbeam, I will stand there with my sword and shield and bang on it and try to make sure it comes towards me through the moon. Come on, it's just little light. Little light never hurt anyone.
That is perfect. With this, is that, are you all set with your turns?
Yeah.
Okay. It's now the Ash Snake's turn, and when it started to come towards you, you could see that it was sort of weaving itself through, and having been roused by this disturbance of the Ember Bats, and as Feelgear starts banging on his shield and yelling at it, it sort of looks directly at you and starts to push forward. So it will move into your space here.
Is it a large or huge?
This is huge. I'll just make it bigger. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oops.
Cool.
Monte coming in like, we had homework, right? Like making it so much bigger.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine, guys. You're gonna be totally cool.
Oh my god.
So the Ash Snake moves forward into your moonbeam, and what happens to it?
It needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Absolutely. So a con save. Ooh, that is a 21.
Well, you know what? That means it takes half the damage.
Okay.
Of radiant damage that I'm about to drop on it.
Yes.
So we'll take half of this.
Okay.
And that is, wow, almost max 18, so 9.
18.
Yep.
Fantastic. So the this enormous beast comes barreling towards you directly into your trap. And
light it up.
As it does, you see unexpectedly, I mean, it if a beast like this could appear surprised, it would, and you do some very intense damage against it. The milky eyes sort of glow even brighter for a moment as it takes the damage within your moonbeam.
No, it's gonna
which
try to
is
eat me.
Amazing. It might. You never know. So after it moves forward just a little bit, it will kind of stay where it is a little bit, confused by what it's just slithered into. But now it's going to make a couple attacks, knowing exactly where you are. So first, it's going to strike forward and make a bite attack against you, Fjolgir. And that'll be... Oops, there we go. Whew. That is going to be a 12 to hit.
Nope. Shield.
Yeah, you raise your shield. It sort of glances off of it as its enormous fang scrapes across your shield. You can see sparks flying off of it. So it misses there, but it comes through again with another attack. It is going to now try to slither its way around you. So it's going to encircle you with its body. I'm going to move it forward just a little bit. But the majority of its body is still within that range. It's just very long. So it's going to come forward and try to constrict you. And that is a 17.
17 on the nose.
Ooh, shit. Okay. So, we have with the constriction, it is you're going to need to make a strength check to avoid its clutches. If not, you might receive a little bit of damage for it crushing.
Strength save or check?
Save.
Oh, 15.
15 on the dot. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's
so
almost a 1 too. It was like
it fell forward, glancing off of your shield, then moved its body around to try to constrict you, but you're too quick. You're able to sort of shove it away with your shield a bit and move before it's able to actually do any damage. Its body still rings you loosely, but it hasn't caused any damage to you at this point. And then that will be, let's see. Yeah, that'll be the end of the ash snake's turn. It'll stay where it is exactly, and we're going to jump back up to the top of the order to Hippa with Honey on deck.
Okay, so is it actually over here or is it around Bleak?
So the majority of its body is in that space, but just sort of the upper part of it after it had attacked sort of encircled him. So yeah, you can just be on the edge of it there. But yes, it's where it should be now.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Or I guess what I'll do is I'll tell you what I want to try to do, and you can tell me whether or not I can do that.
Yeah.
I want to draw its attention away from my friend.
Okay.
So I was thinking I would hit it once, and then maybe if I could use my ability to like curl up, could I do this in a way that it would attack me, or is it actively like only focusing on Fjolgir right now?
As far as you can tell, as of right now, it has targeted Fjolgir because he was antagonizing it. So it is quite possible that, given a little bit
bother it.
Yeah, it might see fit to turn its attention to you.
Cool. Then I would like to try to do that and do my curl up can I do that as a bonus action?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. cool. So I will run up here and I'll put myself between the snake and my friend Scourge, and then I will just attack it with an unarmed strike.
You so totally should be wielding like, one of those rolling pins.
Ah,
Sure.
amazing.
I mean, if we could flavor the rolling pin as the same as my unarmed strike, absolutely.
I will never say no to that.
So I hit it with the rolling pin.
Perfect.
Does a 16 hit though?
A 16 will hit. Yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just gonna do 6 damage.
Okay.
But then what I want to do is I want to use up my curl up ability. So Hedge has this curl up ability where basically I will roll up into a ball with my spikes out. It brings my base armor class up to 19, and then if it attacks me and misses, it will take damage.
Perfect. You can see as you make an attack against it, it is able to sort of track your movements, sets its sight on you, and as you curl up, you're pretty confident that it's going to come towards you at the time of its next turn.
I'm like, oh no, I hope he doesn't go for me, and I pretend to hide.
I'm just an innocent hedgehog. Oh my goodness.
Living on the hedge.
Oh no. Is there anything else you want to do with your turn?
Nope, I am all curled up.
Okay. Next we move to Honey. What have you got?
All right. Honey is going to move right up here next to Hippa. And she is going to pull out her rapier and try to hit with her rapier. That's a natural 20.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, that'll do it. Yep.
All right. So that will
get sneak attack?
Yes,
Deb, do
I
you
will
get
do a
sneak
sneak
attack?
attack. Yes.
Excellent.
Oh my god.
So that will do
All the damage.
the initial hit will do 12 points of damage.
Okay.
And then the sneak attack will do 11 points of damage.
Oh.
And that's double dice. That's amazing.
Yes. And then
Incredible.
I am going to use my bonus action to disengage and pop back to here.
Perfect.
We're definitely making
Amazing
ourselves some
turn.
boots tonight.
Yeah, you're able to do some incredible damage against this very, very large, very angry snake. As you send just the worst of it its way, you can see that it sort of confuses its attention, having just sort of set its sights on what kind of looks like a little spiky rock now on the ground. But now it's sort of looking towards you, and it doesn't quite know where to find its focus. Yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to do?
Nope, that's it. I am gonna, just for flavor, I realized that kind of after the fact that I'm hiding a little bit behind Scourge, and don't know if it's worse to be hiding behind Scourge or like getting away from the ash snake.
Amazing. Speaking of Scourge, you are up. What's going on?
Scourge is going to reach into the cloak on the other side and withdraws a dagger in the other hand, and is going to calmly walk around to about there,
Okay.
and going to swing the sickle first,
Amazing.
which flashes with that same sickly black energy, signifying it as his hex and pact weapon.
Fantastic.
So swing. That's an 18.
That'll hit. Yeah.
All right, and rolling the damage, and it's going to be a +2 to whatever this is. So that's sorry, doing math. 7 points of slashing damage with the hex. And as a bonus action, I have 2 weapon fighting, so I'm going to swing the
Yes.
dagger at it.
Get it.
Try to stab it.
Stabby stab.
I don't add my ability modifier to this, to the
Thanks.
damage of the attack, so. Whoop. Oh, that was bad. That's a 9.
A 9 will not hit, unfortunately.
That's fine.
Its body is still moving, and as you try to aim for bits of it, the just sheer muscle of it ripples, and you just miss with your dagger.
As a bit of flavor as well, when he pulls the sickle free, he spins it, and like the blood makes a circle. It stops, and you see it absorb into the iron of the sickle.
Awesome. That is very cool and very scary.
That's so sick.
Anything else for your turn?
That is it for him.
All right. We come back to Feel Gear.
Well, I will begin by taking a bonus action to drop a spiritual weapon.
Excellent. Perfection.
Right, perfection. We'll say this is drop it right there.
Awesome.
And I will then proceed to give it a little taste of the old sword.
Excellent.
Hello, friend. Have you met my sword?
What do we got?
I've got a 17.
Yeah, a 17 will hit.
Nice. Giving it ye old 9 slashing damage.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, you see sort of as you slash at it, it opens up, and rather than blood coming from this snake, you've realized that it is just ash, just straight ash leaking onto the ground. Some of it with like little sparks of ember left in it, but nothing too much. It's just ash.
Well, that
What else
was
do we
somewhat. It's still alive?
Oh yeah, no, it's still alive.
All right. Well, I believe I can hit it with the hammer. The round I summon the hammer. When you cast a spell, I can make a melee spell
Yeah.
attack against this creature with on a hit. All right. That'll be probably not. That'll be a 14.
14 hits, just hits.
Really? Well,
Yeah, just.
I'll take it. I'll take it. And
Eek.
the hammer will do. The weapon can take whatever form you choose. Also, it takes a form of a sword, and that'll be 6 plus my spellcasting ability modifier. 3, so 9 points of damage
Awesome.
as the sword flies in behind him and.
Excellent. Yeah, you're kind of giving it a 1-2 punch just when it sort of reels back from the damage dealt in front of it. It's sort of you can see its entire body slither and move as your spiritual weapon comes down on it as well. This snake is looking increasingly angry and increasingly hurt.
Does
And-
it also take moonbeam damage? Or
On
is
its
that
turn, on its turn, it'll
Okay.
take moonbeam damage. Yep.
It is now its turn, so go ahead and
Hey!
hit me with that moonbeam.
So go ahead and make another con check.
Okay, absolutely. Constitution.
Constitution.
when the moon hits the snake?
Oh no.
Like a bigger piece of steak. That's
A moonbeam.
That's a moonbeam.
Oh no.
that's
Oh
a cleric.
no. Wow. So a second ash snake shows up. I'm kidding. Yes, that'll definitely hit.
That's did you make the con check?
Yeah, I rolled a nat 1.
All right.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's not actually like a hole in the ground. That's like a ash snake creator. So it just like until we go ahead and destroy it, it's just gonna keep popping out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take all of it. 16.
16. Yeah.
Radiant damage.
So it just sort of lights up with radiant energy. Every bit of orange spark and ember turns white for just a moment, and you see part of the scales sort of slough off as if it were molting, but instead they're just gone, and you see crackling fire underneath these missing patches of scales. So the ash snake now furious, is going to sort of slither its way around each of you. So it's going to find its way around here, slithering kind of in a circle. Yeah, behind you. So it'll come that way, and it is going to rear up, and it's going to open its mouth at you. You see its enormous fangs sort of glowing with the backlight behind it of this fire in its throat, and it is going to shoot ashen breath at you, which will be a cloud of superheated ash in a 15-foot cone towards the three of you that are piled up there. Everybody needs to make a DC 14 dex save for me, please.
Save. I am okay at those.
Do I get any advantage from being curled up?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
21.
So should I just roll it with advantage or add? Okay.
Yeah. 21 for Scourge. Okay.
You
I
just
hope a
spin
bunch of your-
like Sonic the Hedgehog. Just...
Yeah.
I also got a 21. Yes, I'm fully curled up, hedgehog.
I hope some of your little quills catch on fire so you look like a birthday cake.
Oh my god.
That's a very cute thought.
I thought it was gonna bite me and then it would take damage, but oh well. Works out.
So as it rains its breath on you, each of you are able to sort of reel back in a way that prevents the worst of it. But you'll each take 6 points of fire damage as it rains this flaming breath on you.
No.
It will now, after having released vicious hellfire on you, it is going to turn its attention then to the one it didn't just hit, and it's going to make a bite attack against Honey.
No.
I know. Okay, so
Hit him?
that's a natural one against you,
Oh.
Honey.
Sheesh.
You are it sort of knows of your presence from when you moved last, but now you're seeing that as it tries to strike towards you, you've been standing silently as you've been trained to do, both in your practice as a rogue, but also just your demeanor. You tend to be very quiet, and it doesn't seem to actually see you. It just strikes where it thinks you might be, and you're able to, I mean, you don't even have to dodge it. It just entirely misses you. It sort of bites down into the earth and then yanks its head backward to pry its teeth out. It flashes again with bright, fiery anger, and that will be the end of its turn, and we'll jump back up to the top of the order with Hippa.
Amazing. I'm gonna pop out of my curled up ability, and I'm gonna run here in front of its face.
Yeah.
And not only am I going to attack it, I'm going to flurry of blows it.
Get it.
'Cause I'm sick of this guy. So, the first one's only a 10.
10 will miss.
Okay, 10 misses, but
Mhm.
now I'll do my flurry of blows, which is 2 attacks, my bonus action. That's going to be a 14
14 just hits.
and a 19.
Yeah, that'll hit too.
Okay, cool. So then with both of those, 7, 11 damage.
Yes.
And I would like to use my open hand technique.
Yeah.
So I want to try to make it fall prone. So it's a dex saving throw. So I kind of want to just be like punching its head so that it like falls into the ground. And I'm just like,
yes.
I really don't like punching this thing in the face, but I think it's necessary at this point. And just
Amazing. Yes. Okay. So you're going to deal a tremendous amount of damage. It will, as you hit it, your fists are just sort of imbued with not quite fury, because you don't really get that mad, but you do get overwhelmingly protective of your friends. And so with that strength behind it, you unleash just some intense punches. You're able to literally punch some of the scales off of its face as you hit it twice, and it's going to fall prone and sort of twist and curl on itself, moving a little bit further backward from you, just about there. And I would say that Scourge and Feelgear, it's out of your range. So if you wanted to take attacks of opportunity as it sort of writhes away in pain.
Don't mind if we do.
Absolutely.
Scourge.
Have at
I'll
him,
swing
boys. I say.
first.
Have at him, boys.
That's a 14.
A 14 just hits.
Rolling the damage.
Yeah.
Scourge.
That's 6 damage.
6 damage. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. It is, it's sort of, it curls further, and then as you hit it, it uncurls the same way again, just like unable to get itself away. The size of it is a disadvantage at this point because anywhere it moves, you are all there. It is looking really rough. And now we've got Feelgear with another attack of opportunity.
That's right. I will figure out a way to do this.
Oh my god.
18
That definitely hits, yeah.
as it skitters away, and I just reach out with the sword,
Yeah.
giving it yield 7 points of damage.
7 points. Yeah, you slice at it with your long sword. You're able to cut open a sizable portion of it, revealing more ash spilling out from within. It continues to writhe, looking very rough. The milky white of its eyes seems to dim just a little bit and turns a bit more of like a smoky gray. And now it is Honey's turn.
All right, I'm gonna move up here next to Hippa, and since the rapier did such a great job last time, I'm gonna try that again. And that is a natural 1, so I just biff it.
Just balance out your.
Yep.
That's okay. It's moving in a way that makes it very, very difficult to hit. Is there anything else that you wanted to do?
Yes, I'm going to
Okay.
disengage
Yeah,
and move back
fantastic.
here.
Absolutely. You give yourself a little bit of safety and distance from this beast as it continues to writhe around. You almost fear that it might hit you with its body as it's moving unintentionally. Yes.
I think
you get
you have
advantage
advantage.
Oh, okay.
because it had been
I
knocked
will-
prone.
Roll again, and move
Yeah.
back, I guess. That is a 12.
12 does not hit.
Okay.
So close. The AC is 14, so you're nearly there.
So
We tried. We tried.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you disengage back to okay. So now we have, after having done an attack of opportunity, now we've got Scourge back in the game, ready to get after it.
It's been a bit since he's looked this excited, but he is going to slowly and methodically just walk towards it, sickle outstretched, and as soon as he just gets near its neck, he's going to swing the sickle upwards,
Perfect.
like in an
With
arc.
advantage.
It's still prone, so with advantage, so I'll just roll twice.
I don't know if you remember the Shaft remake at some point with Sam Jackson, but at the end, there's Peoples Hernandez, the bad guy, and he's just walking towards the bay, and he's got this ice pick, and he's just stabbing himself in the chest as he's walking toward it. That's kind of what I imagine there.
Oh, brutal.
That's badass.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the
It's
first,
like-
sorry, my internet.
Yeah, you crapped out
Internet's
there.
reading out a little bit. My first hit was a 21.
That hits. Absolutely.
1 damage. That's not what I meant to do. That.
Okay.
So 7
So it
points
looks-
of slashing.
Perfect. Okay, so as you take your sickle and you just slice your way upward, What does it look like when you kill this
Ooh,
monstrous
nice.
snake?
Oh, so
Yes.
as he spins the sickle, he catches it into directly underneath the neck, and he begins to pull the head towards him, and just that same rictus smile, and just drives it up until he sees the blade pop free from the top of the head.
Incredible. The massive snake, its head becomes heavy, and you feel the weight of it on your weapon. The rest of you, its body that was tensed and curled and moving suddenly starts to go slack. It continues to move for a period of time that seems a little bit strange, but it ends up sort of shifting itself into a place where it just lays like a ribbon on the ground. At the place where it was entirely slashed open, ash falls, but also what look like sort of hot coals emanating from its neck as the great beast has been slayed.
The scourge of these woods strikes again.
Got him.
You sure did.
Oh, wow. Oh, honey, are you okay? Are you hurt? Did you get
No,
hurt?
I'm not hurt. I
Okay.
managed to stay out of its way enough.
Okay, just double check. I would hate for you to get hurt. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
glad you're
would
okay.
I would throw an eye around, see if anyone is wounded and in need of
Yeah.
So fun thing, because you say that, as I pull the sickle free, you see that blackened energy that was surrounding the snake revolve and push back into me as I heal for 6 points of health
Oh,
because of
right.
Hexblade's curse.
Hexblade's curse.
Amazing. Fantastic.
That heal happens. I look to the group, kind of go back into the crouch. Tuck both blades into the cloak. Hand on the snake, make the crescent claw, and sit on the ground.
I dare say, Scourge, if you weren't on our side, we would all be the worst off for it.
Well, Pippa will stow her, what was it, a rolling pin that we said she had?
Yeah.
She'll kind of do a flip and like put it away, and she'll go, Fielger, I'll take a little bit of that healing.
Little
juices,
healing.
or do you have like a tea? Maybe a tea would be nice.
An elixir.
Oh, yeah, or like a fruit snack.
Well, if you're in need of some serious, I'll take a look at her wounds, see if it warrants me firing off a spell on it. How many points are you missing?
I'm only missing 6 from the breath.
If it
So it's not too bad.
is any consolation, it might do us some good to catch a breather here, a small rest before we move on.
I would
Instead of-
suggest, in fact, that we move on a little bit further in case this thing is not a solitary creature. Perhaps one of these berries, and I'll take one of the good berries that I got earlier. Will do you some good.
Sure,
Okay.
I can have some of my own berries. You keep those, Philgear. Keep yourself feeling good. I assume you're hurt a little bit too.
I am.
Then I propose we find a spot to rest.
Okay. Yeah, if we take a long rest, then we don't need to use the berries, but
Even a short would do
Absolutely.
us some good.
short would do me good as well.
But let's move away from this beast's lair before we do so, in case it has friends of the
Yeah.
big flaming snake persuasion.
Can I pick up some of the scales that Hippa had knocked off of its face and just save them for later?
Absolutely. So the scales around its face sort of vary in size. The ones a little bit further down the neck are a lot larger, and you see that they're sort of the size of a platter, just very, very large. It could be something that might be useful for you sometime, as you are a bit of a tinkerer. So yes, you're able to gather as many as you can fit in your bag, and hope to use those later. And
Can I
as
ask-
Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
Beth. Just a question for Le GM. So, just a question for my knowledge. Are these types of creatures, these flame creatures, were they here
Yeah.
before the whole fire thing, or are they a result of the fact that there's all that fire stuff happening? Like, are they aberrations that weren't around before, or is it like they were always here? They just,
So they are they're newer. So this great calamity, the great fire, happened hundreds of years ago now. And prior to that, there were beasts in the wood that grew to sort of greater sizes than expected than other places in the world. And there have been sort of unique creatures abound, but these monsters that have been touched by flame are newer after this great fire, and more now they seem to be birthing themselves from the earth itself. I mean, it's hard to tell exactly where they come from, but they are more.
But they
more
didn't
prevalent.
cause the fire. I guess is what I want to know.
No, as far as you know, they
They
haven't.
didn't start the fire.
They did
It
not.
was always burned.
There's actually a lot of theories that sort of bump around about how the fire could have started, but even the tenders who have been working on learning from the scorched grove itself, as well as histories that they're able to read through, it's really not completely clear how this happened.
Okay.
But the earth hasn't quite recovered.
As Philgear watches Honey pick up those scales, he'll himself will sort of, kneel down a little bit next to it and take some of the ash and just run it through his fingers and say, "It's always quite amazing how nature finds a way to adapt to even the most direst of situations. It's almost as if we are now the ones that don't fit on this world anymore. These things are adapting to live in this new environment. We're the ones who cannot do so."
Oh,
It's
I don't know if I agree
somewhat
with
scary.
that. There's a place for us here too, Fieldgate. I promise.
Yes, but we must fight for it. They are simply born to it and fit it perfectly.
You act like that's not in our nature, then. To fight for our place. Feel gear. And we're just going to stand, get back to that crouch, and just slowly walk towards them. Despite the myriad of differences that you and I have, the two of us are, in every sense of the word, predators. Now, of course, that being said, things have changed in our world. But every predator has had to fight to get their way in this place. We are just maintaining that balance. It kind of grows into a sort of squat. The top of the food chain is maintained by balance, after all. We just have to make sure that interlopers, no matter how strange or unnatural they are, understand their place in that food chain. And sometimes you need to do it by force.
But if there is no answer, if the tenders don't find an answer to this, and this is simply the new state of the world, your precious food chain will be upended and you will end up at the bottom where you were once at the top. If a creature evolves to hunt in the night, it is able to see in the night, it possesses skills and abilities that those that live by they don't, and vice versa. The natural state of the world is daylight. We find the night to be somewhat of some of you find the night to be somewhat of an aberration. I myself quite like it, but if that changes, if that order that we understand, that balance that we understand changes because of whatever caused this cataclysm to appear, we may find that we are the ones that are no longer welcome here.
If Crucis herself deems that I no longer fit the place of the natural order, then my sickle will gladly be laid down. But until then, I'll hunt and feast as I see fit, I suppose. And he's going to sit, close his eyes, and seems to be resting.
Speaking of feast, anybody hungry?
I don't suppose you expect us to eat any of that, Snake. I guess it's already pre-cooked.
No, I was thinking I could whip up something, but I wasn't thinking snake.
Maybe the bats from before.
Peace. Eyes open wide.
I think
They're not field mice, but
I've got some bread, I've got some berries. You know, I can make like a little compote, get a little fire going maybe.
Yeah, you're able to set up camp, having moved a little bit further away from, this battle site, wondering whether or not there might be more of these nearby. You sort of walk, I would say, for probably about 15 minutes or so, and then you're able to find a space that looks reasonable enough to set up camp. So Hippa, you can, start a fire and begin cooking whatever meal it is that you see fit.
A little supper.
Yeah, as you all find a little bit of rest seated around the fire with each other.
and as we're enjoying a little bit of a meal, I'll say, honey, you're always so quiet, but what do you make of these changes that are occurring in the world? Do you think that they're a portent of a new order, or do you think that they're just an aberration that can be defeated and turned back?
It's not for one so small as I to know, but I do know that change is the way of things. And coming from the Priory of Verdant Hope, it is simply for me to keep hoping in a future that is better. But I do know that when one has a troubled conscience, it can be hard to find a place anywhere that feels hopeful.
And when one is used to dealing in death more than in life, I can understand why one would find some comfort in knowing that the world is changing to become a far deadlier one.
Ear pricks.
You continue to eat, some more politely than others, and you're able to set up something that feels fairly comfortable given the sort of interaction that you just had.
It's a compliment. He's enjoying the food.
Yeah, I mean, eating with gusto.
Yeah.
I do give Honey a little bit of a side glance, a little suspicious side glance.
With everybody feeling their nerves settling after jumping over a ravine and being chased by fiery bats and this encounter with a snake, you're all able to settle into your feelings of the state of the world, of your place in the world and with this group. And you can settle yourselves in for a little bit of a rest for the evening. And as you all find yourselves falling asleep, one after the other, keeping a watch, to make sure that you're safe, not far away, probably about another 10 minutes walk forward, is a large opening in the trees. You haven't seen it yet, but you're sure to. And as this space sort of opens up, there is nothingness. It is earth that has been burned and burned and burned again with normal fire and with magical fire. There are patches of ground that seem to be sprouting the tiniest little blades of grass, others that have the beginning of a small sapling here and there, but those are few and far between. The earth is raked with scars, and there are sort of magical auras that come and go from this space. And when you wake in the morning, you'll find yourselves very close to the edge of the Scorched Grove. And with that, we're going to end tonight's session, and we'll pick up there, learning more about the Scorched Grove in 1 week. So I wanted to go around again and let you all sort of get to know our group a little bit better. We'll start then with Rachel, our fearless, loving, caring murder monk. How you
Murder
doing?
monk.
Hi, I'm Rachel, or Arya Galaxy. I'm playing the hedge monk Hippa, prickly in stature but not in nature. And you can follow me on Twitter at Carollo_Rachel, or on Instagram at CarolloRach. I've been doing TTRPG for a while, Monday Night Mayhems all the time. And yeah, what a amazing first session of 2. Very excited to see what we find in the Scorched Grove.
Yeah, we'll see where it leads. Hard to say. Things are very
Nothing good.
inconsistent lately. All right, well, let's talk a little bit to the scariest member of the group. Javante, how are you doing? How is Scourge doing? Wow.
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Scourge is perfectly fine. Hi guys, I'm Javante. I play Scourge Van Dyer, the Vulpin Warlock, specifically a coyote. Definitely ended up about as scary as I wanted him to end up. You can find me on Twitter at Javante, Jev as in Victor, Aunte. I'm in a metric ton of TTRPGs lately. You can actually will be able to catch me on some place here at Guild Superior, where I'll be a part of Vesson. Super excited for that. You can also catch me over at not Superior Game. You can catch me over at Initiative Order, where I'll be a part of Power Rangers. You can catch me over at Cybernation very soon for something else that I can't talk about quite yet. I'm in a lot of stuff. I'm super excited about it. Can't wait for y'all to see it. I can't wait to do this next week.
Awesome. You are so busy and it's so exciting. I know you've got a lot of good stuff coming, so definitely looking forward to all of that. And looking forward to seeing what Scourge comes up with in the second half of our tale. Moving from perhaps the scariest character to one would think would be the sweetest character here, though also deadly. Deb, how are you doing? How was your first time on stream? And how is Honey feeling after all of this?
I am great. This was so
Yeah.
fun. I had such a blast. Yeah, what a great game, Humblewood, to play for my first stream. And great job as the DM. This was awesome. I loved it. I thought it was great. Honey is she didn't take any damage at all, so that was nice. She has some, there's some undercurrents with some of the other members of the party, which is fun. And so I can't wait to see where those go next week. I am not on Twitter. I'm one of those weirdos, but I am on Instagram at dsweats. It's mostly pictures of cats and baked goods, so you can follow me on there if you like. But I can't wait to be back next week.
Just for everyone's reference, they're very cute cats and very delicious baked goods, so it's certainly worth a follow. And then we also have our, you know what? I have to say, Bleak, this has been, I expected you to come up with some shenanigans, but when you revealed your character's voice, I lost it. I tried to keep my cool, You got me though. Very well done. How are you doing? And tell us what's up with you.
Hi. Well, what's up with me is I have 0 baked goods and no cats. However, I do have a whole whackload of games, perhaps not as many as Javante, but certainly a huge number of games going on. I am Bleak Season at the Bleak Season on Twitter. And you can also check out my website, bleakseason.com, where I talk about my World of Shadesong, which I will be premiering a new 5-part saga on Thursday, right here at Guild Superior. Also on Sunday, the Vaesen game that Javante mentioned, a 5-part Vaesen Isa, that will take place aboard a boat that is frozen solid in the middle of the North Sea. Should be a lot of fun. And then people start dying because, you know, that's what happens when your boat is frozen in the North Sea. Other than that, hanging around, doing some work here. I think that's it. That's it. There's no Greyhawk game this week, unfortunately. We'll have to come back next week. And I had a great time. Beautiful group, wonderful players. Dad did fantastic on the first time, and Beth did fantastic on the first time also. So certainly look forward to next game. Big thanks to Miko also for all the wonderful art and all the wonderful production and all the good stuff. And to the watchers. Thanks everyone. Thanks.
Huge thanks all around. This has been absolutely fantastic. I'm so grateful to have had such a fantastic group of players. You definitely made my job a lot easier. I'm Beth. I've been, well, some of you were really helpful, and some
I was
Bleak.
very helpful, so
Yeah.
I don't know what Bleak is doing.
Either way, I mean, even for the levity of it all, I certainly appreciate it. Also, I want to send out a huge thank you to Miko. I would not have agreed to do this if it weren't for everything that you do with this. So thank you, truly. I'm Beth Masco. I can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Beth Masco. And we'll be back here in a week to see where the rest of this tale goes. That'll be the 16th of January already. My goodness.
I know.
But with that, yes, big thanks to everyone who watched, everyone who threw out names for the group. You had a lot of great ideas that maybe we'll latch on to, and
We'll consider.
Yeah, we'll think about it. I mean,
We gotta regroup.
We did. We came close to perfection here, but in the meantime, I hope everybody has a really lovely week. We look forward to seeing you next time, and yeah, just thank you very much.